In this video we'll demonstrate to you how to design your own rally track in 3D Studio Max and how to get it to run in the Rally Sim Richard Burns Rally. Additional features such as far scenery, camera placement etc. are not covered at this moment. This is just about the basic techniques required to construct a small piece of tarmac road with some trees and export this to Richard Burns Rally. Any additional information can be found in the description, as well as links to necessary tools, plugins, and other files. Besides 3D Studio Max, you also need the Wallaby tool to export a track to Richard Burns Rally. If you do not have this tool, do not quit yet. There are possibilities to get this tool. Look in the description for further information. Now let's get started. Please launch 3D Studio Max. We use 3D Studio Max 2012. Go to Customize, Unit Setup, and make sure the display unit scale is metric and in meters. Press the System Unit Setup button, and one unit should be 1 meter. Launch the material editor, select a material. Go to Maps and select a diffuse color map. Then select Bitmap, hit OK and search for the texture atlas with terrain and road textures, which we need to map the track surface. In this case, we use a texture atlas, which we created in another tutorial video. A link is in the description. It has to be a texture file in DDS format. You can download all the DDS files we use in this tutorial from our website. And again, a link is in the description. So select the tracksurface.dds file and tick Show Shaded Material in Viewport. Then close the material editor. Next, create a plane, and open the keyboard entry panel. Set length to 8 meters, and width to 4 meters. Under Parameters, set the number of length segments to 8, and the number of width segments to 4. Then press the Create button. Under the Perspective Viewport settings make sure that Edged Faces is selected. Then open the Material Editor, select, hold, and drag the track surface material to the new plane. Then close the Material Editor. Click with your right mouse button on the plane and convert it to editable mesh. Then select the UVW map modifier from the modifier list and set the width and length to 32 meters. Then select the Unwrap UVW modifier and press the Open UVW Editor button. The Edit UVWs panel opens. Make sure you have the texture selected, and you can now select, move and scale the UVW grid into the correct position. Once you are satisfied, you can close the panel. Convert the object to an editable mesh. We now have an 8 meter long and 4 meter wide tarmac strip. The roadsides will be built next. Basically, in the same way as with the road. Make another plane, this time 2 by 8 meters in size, then map it with the same material. We'll show you again, but this time at a faster speed. The roadsides are ready, let's attach them to the road. Select Snap Toggle and make sure Snap Settings are set to Vertex. Then select a piece of roadside and move it to the road object. The vertices will now magnetically pull the items against each other. Repeat this for the other side. Then select one of the objects and press the Attach button. Point and click the other two objects. All objects are now attached to make one object. Make sure there are no double vertices by selecting all vertices by choosing Weld Selected. Make sure the distance parameter is smaller than 1 meter. 0.1 meter will do. Now that the road and roadsides are complete, we can focus on the track's surroundings. And it's almost identical to what you've seen previously on the road and the roadsides. So we'll accelerate the video to make some quick progress. The surrounding surface may have less detail further away from the road. As a result, you could select 4 polygons, but we're going to go with 2 polygons every 8 meters. So 1 polygon every 4 meters. 1 polygon then equals 16 square meters. Let's get started. As you can see here, when you move some vertices, it could create a hole or gap in the track surface. We obviously want to avoid this. It can be achieved by using the cut modifier to add additional edges to the polygon. And don't forget to weld the double vertices. After that, we'll add some more remote surface polygons to our track surface. Our track section is now complete. Let's lengthen it in order to apply it as a template. The template is now finished. We simply clone this template to construct the rally stage. The bend modifier can be used to bend the road. Select the Y bend axis. Turn on the limit effect and enter an upper and lower limit. Now you can set the angle of the road. Once you are happy with the result, convert the mesh to editable mesh and move and attach it to the track surface. Now we will add some diversity to our track surface by varying the height. First, some corner banking is added. In the real world, most road turns are banked. The outer edge of the road is then raised above the inner edge, making some inclination with the horizontal. In 3D Studio Max you can do this by raising the outer edge vertices and lowering the inner edge vertices. To do this smoothly, you can use soft selection. And now we're going to add some additional hills while attempting to leave the road untouched. Finally, we will add some greenery in the shape of trees. For this, we'll need a new material with a texture that has an alpha channel. We already have a texture prepared. You can download it from our website. A link is in the description. In the new material, add the new DDS texture bitmap to the diffuse map and add the same bitmap to the opacity map. Make sure alpha is selected in the monochannel output. Create a new plane with 1 length section and 4 width segments. Drag the new material onto the plane, and this time change it to an editable poly instead of an editable mesh. The reason for this is because you can preserve the UVs while modifying the mesh. And that's what we're going to do. Next, watch how we construct a 20-meter tall tree out of this plane. To add a bit of scenery, we are going to clone this tree. Now that we are ready with creating a small piece of track surface and adding some trees, we can finally export the 3D objects in DirectX format. First, we must reduce the track surface into smaller pieces so that the graphics engine from the Sim Richard Burns Rally can efficiently handle it. Make sure you have a DirectX plugin installed before exporting the objects. We're using the all-in DirectX Exporter plugin, which is available for free on the CG Dev website. There is a link in the description. Make sure you've downloaded and installed a suitable one for your 3D Studio Max version. When you have all track surface objects selected, go to Export, Export Selected, choose a location, and select the all-in DirectX Exporter. Save the file and name it Ground. When you configure the settings like this, you may hit OK to save the track surface. You can do the same with the trees. We can now close 3D Studio Max and start the Wallaby app. But first, we must build the RBZ file. The RBZ file is an archive file that includes a folder structure that contains all of the required textures. To make it easy for ourselves, we take an RBZ file of an existing track. In this case, a track we made ourselves called Gestal. This is track ID 132. We go to the Maps folder in the Richard Burns Rally installation folder and we copy the RBZ file of this track. Then we change the extension from RBZ to RA. Now we can open the file with the WinRAR app. You can download this app, a link is in the description. For this example, we'll use track ID 9999. Now we delete all existing texture files from the archive and replace them with the 2 texture files from our tutorial track. In this case, we only make a dry weather version. We'd like to produce an overcast version of it. As a result, All files will be called track, minus symbol, 9999, underscore, capital O, dot, and then the desired extension. Except for the RBZ file, this file additionally has an underscore after the capital O and then textures, dot, and finally the extension RBZ. When we are ready, we change the extension back to RBZ. Now it's time to open Wallaby. This is version 0.29b6. First, we create a new file. Then we open the mesh importer. We want to import the track surface, so the mesh type must be ground mesh and we select the DirectX mesh file. Hit OK. Then select Add as New, and again hit OK. We can now see the track surface or ground mesh, but no textures. We'll straighten it out. Navigate to View, Object Browser, and then right-click Textures. Then choose Reload Textures from Directory, and navigate to the DDS Textures folder. That's it. Next, we are going to indicate where the starting point of the rally stage should be. Click on the Choose Object button. Select Car and hit OK. Then point to where the car should be placed. Then go to View, Object Browser, and select Car Info. Then click on the button to ground. Next, we are going to import the trees. Go to Tools and Mesh Importer. The mesh type must be General Mesh. Then select the mesh file. In this case, select trees.x, press Open and OK. Select Add as New and hit OK. You answer no to the question, place mesh before camera. Then go to View, Object Browser, right-click on Textures, and choose Reload Textures from Directory. Then navigate to the folder with DDS texture files and hit OK. Now it's time for the Material Map Editor. Press the Material Editor button. The editor then opens. As you can see, the texture track surface.dds is already selected. Now make sure that the height and width factor are both scaled to 0.125. You can do this with the plus and minus buttons. Now you can clearly see the top left tarmac texture of the texture atlas. Then start painting the desired physics on the texture atlas. Unfortunately, we failed to hit the Generate Weathers button before saving the adjustments when producing this movie. So keep this in mind and then save the material file. Save it in your Maps folder. Next we're going to set the driveline. Press the driveline button to create the driveline of the rally stage. Now a piece of rally track is finished. Go to View, Object Browser, right-click on Textures, and select Export INI. Save the INI file in your Maps folder. Finally, we're going to export the track. Go to File and select Export Project to RBR. Select Next. Select the external X file. This is the ground.x file. Press Next. Choose Optimize Geometry and then press Next. Exporting shadows is still not possible in this Wallaby version, so press Next. Enter the track name in the input field. Select the output folder. This is your Maps folder. Hit OK and hit Export. Once the track is exported, you can close Wallaby. In your Explorer, go to your Maps folder. Here you see all the exported files. Open the INI file. We need to make a few minor corrections to this before moving forward. The opacity map of the track surface.dds must be false and its ground texture must be true. The texture format is DX1. The opacity map of the trees which are in the object texture plate transparent 1.dds file must be true. Its ground texture must be false and the texture format is DX3 or DX5. Then save the INI file. To run the test track in Richard Burns Rally, we have to add some additional information to two configuration files located in the Maps directory of the Richard Burns Rally installation directory. We go to this location and copy these configuration files to our Maps working folder. In the track.ini folder, we copy the information from our Gestalt track and paste and modify it for our tutorial test track. We do the same in the track settings.ini. When we are finished, we copy all the files, including the exported track files, into the Richard Burns Rally Maps folder and overwrite the old configuration files. Now we are almost ready to test the track in Richard Burns Rally. We use the Check Tournaments plugin for Richard Burns Rally to run modified cars and tracks. You can download this plugin from their website. The link is in the description. To make things even easier for you, we developed the EasyRBR app. EasyRBR is fully compatible with the Check plugin and keeps Richard Burns Rally up to date with the latest vehicles and plugins like FixUp and Next Generation Physics. You can download EasyRBR from our website. A link is in the description. Of course, it's up to you. There are much more plugins available that can run modified rally tracks into RBR. And now, finally, we start Richard Burns Rally. And here we see the result of our hard work.
3, 2, 1, go!
Anyway, we hope you found this tutorial educational and entertaining. Please do not hesitate to ask any questions. Leave a message or send us an email. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our channel. That means a lot to us.